Hey guys, welcome back. So today I have a book haul for you. I recently went to the Brooklyn Book Festival and had an amazing time. I wanted to do a little bit of a recap of that, and then I want to show you all of the things that I picked up. Some of these are books I purchased, others are things that I received for free. But yeah, I definitely ended up coming home with more books than I had anticipated, which seems to often be the case, but I had such a great time. There were events leading up to it, but this particular day, the main day, was a one-day festival in Brooklyn. There were a lot of pretty well-known authors there, which was a lot of fun. I did get to go to a couple of panels, which were super interesting, and one of the books that I picked up was after a panel with the author, and that was American Street by Ibi Zoboi, and they did have a signing afterwards, so that was really cool. So I had heard a little bit about this book, but not in detail, and it just sounded super fascinating hearing her talk about it. It's about a teenage girl who is a Haitian immigrant and is living in Detroit, and I think sort of her coming of age, but also dealing with her cultural heritage in a new place, and it has a little bit of magic in it. It sounds really amazing, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. Yeah, I've heard really good things about it, so I did pick that one up, and that panel was just really cool. It was all different authors who deal with different things about like fitting in and standing out. I had the author of 13 Reasons Why and a couple of other people that I hadn't read their stuff, but it sounds really interesting, so that was really neat. Then I went to another panel, which was also pretty awesome. Holly Black was on that panel, and she's fantastic. And then there were a couple of other people who I haven't read their stuff, but I've been wanting to, and one was Rhoda Baeza, I think that's how you say it, and this is her first book, Empress of a Thousand Skies, and this is a YA sci-fi novel. It sounded really interesting, so I picked this one up. I believe the sequel to this is coming out soon, and she also wrote a really nice little note and signed it for me. So I'm really looking forward to that. It sounded like she's got some really interesting approaches to world building and infusing religion into her cultures that she creates, so I'm really excited to check that one out. And then the other thing that I picked up, which, oh my gosh, I was so excited to get my hands on, is they had arcs of Beasts Made of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi, and he was on that panel as well, which was super interesting. He lives in America, but his mother was an immigrant, I believe from Nigeria, and I think this is a fantasy novel set in Nigeria, and so ever since I heard about this, I thought it sounded super interesting. Let's see, and this will, when does this release? Okay, and so this actually releases next month, so I'm really excited to have gotten this a little bit early, and also a signed copy. It was really great getting to meet them. So then I also went around the festival and picked some different things up there, some of which they were giving away and others which I purchased. One was kind of interesting, this place called One Story, and they publish these little kind of zine format short stories, and they only do one per author, and a lot of times it's up and coming authors, sometimes they're teen ones, and so they had a 3-pack for $5, so I thought I would check this out. I don't know much about this, they just sounded kind of interesting. I was chatting with one of the girls that works there, and so I thought I would pick this up and give it a try, because, you know, $5 short stories, why not? Next, they were giving this book away, Arms from the Sea by Rich Shapiro. I do not know anything about this, but the cover's kind of pretty. So it says, Lyle is a young man who hates his life in the state of salt, a cultural and literal desert. He vandalizes a state icon, then swallows a poison pill that transports him not to death, but to a liminal realm, blue, watery, and wholly alien. He's rescued and okay, this is like... Okay, so the more I read about this, it sounds super weird. Yeah, this looks like it... I can't tell if this is like self-published. It might be. Interesting. There's some other stuff. Anyway, so yeah, this sounds like a very strange story, but you know, give it a try. See how that is. You know, it was free, so I picked it up. Then Amazon has a new imprint that they're trying to make work, and they had these nice little tote bags. Little A is the imprint, and they were actually giving away some of their books, so I picked up a couple that looked interesting. The first one is this one, Kings of Broken Things by Theodore Wheeler, and this is historical fiction set in Nebraska after World War II, and it addresses issues of racism and politics, and this just sounded really interesting. I guess it's based on some true event that actually occurred. I don't know much about it, but I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. And then the other one that I picked up from them, I have seen somewhere and I thought it sounded interesting, and that is Beautiful Bodies by Kimberly Ray Miller. And this is a memoir about dieting and dealing with body image issues, and I've heard really good things about it, that it's pretty empowering and interesting, so I thought that I would give that a try as well. The next book I was given for review by a small independent publisher, House of Anansi Press, and that is The Mosaic by Nina Burkout. And this is a YA novel that features a former Marine who has been in combat and has PTSD, as well as a teenage girl who falls for him and thinks she can fix him and discovers that she can't. So that sounded interesting, again, outside of what I typically read, but yeah, so I'm gonna give this a try and let you guys know what I think. And the last book that I picked up was Girl Caught by Florence Webb Maxwell. And this I thought was kind of cool. It's by this really small indie publisher, Blouse and Skirt Books, that just publishes authors from the Caribbean, and I thought they sounded pretty interesting. I liked the cover, I thought it was really pretty, and the story sounds interesting. It's about a 16-year-old girl, and it's set in the late 1950s in Bermuda, right when racial segregation ends. And so this is interesting. I didn't necessarily know that there was racial segregation in Bermuda, but I guess in 1959 it ended, and there was some major backlash as a result. And so it's about this girl who kind of is coming of age, but also getting caught up in that. So I thought that sounded really interesting as well. All right, so those are all of the books that I picked up at the Brooklyn Book Festival. There's some really good ones that I'm pretty excited about reading. You probably see a theme here. The other thing I kind of wanted to mention that was just kind of a cool experience is I met some really great people while I was there who are in publishing, and then ended up getting to meet and hang out with some authors for dinner, which was really cool. A couple newer ones, one of whom I actually want to highlight because she's got her first book coming out early next year, and that is Laura Sebastien, and she wrote the book Ash Princess, so I will put a picture here and link her book for pre-order down below because it sounds kind of amazing and she's really cool. But I also ended up getting to hang out and talk to Holly Black and Libba Bray, which was amazing. I discovered Libba Bray's books when I was in college. The Gemma Doyle trilogy, if any of you guys are familiar, Great and Terrible Beauty, they're such good books. So if you haven't read them, I highly recommend them. They're like fantastic. But yeah, it was just kind of a crazy, cool experience. I got to hang out with these people for dinner, some people in publishing and a few authors, including those two, and have a conversation with them. And they were just such lovely people. They're really fantastic. And we talked about our kids, and yeah, it was just kind of amazing. Great. I had such a good time, and it was such a cool thing. And you know, it's interesting when you just sort of put yourself out there and start to reach out to people and talk to people, you know, you never know what could happen. So it was really fun. That is my summary of the Brooklyn Book Festival and all of the books that I got. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an overview. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to see more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.